At a family gathering, my husband's sister pulled me aside and whispered, "You'll never be one of us." My husband chuckled, "She's just teasing you." I laughed and said, "Good thing I was never trying to be." The room went silent when I stood up and made an announcement that left everyone stunned. This happened about 2 years ago, but I've waited until now to say anything. For legal reasons mostly. And honestly, because part of me didn't think it was real until I saw what happened with my own eyes. It started at a family gathering. My husband's family. Not mine. His side is the old money, name on a building, country club and trust fund type. The kind of people who make you feel small without saying much. They don't yell. They just smile at you like you're an insect they haven't decided to squash yet. I'm married into this. Thought I was ready. I wasn't. I grew up in Providence, Rhode Island, raised by a single mom who worked 2 jobs. I worked my ass off to get where I am. Got my accounting degree, started my own consulting business. I'm not flashy, but I'm proud of myself. I met Miles, my now husband, through mutual friends when I was 30. He was charming, successful, sweet, kind. Or so I thought. His family seemed standoffish, but I didn't expect them to roll out the red carpet either. I wasn't trying to marry his last name, I married him. At least, that's what I thought. His sister, Savannah, was the worst from day one. She has this face that looks permanently annoyed, even when she's smiling. Always making little comments. Not outright insults, just pokes. Like, "Oh, you own your own business? That's so brave." I wish I had time to work. But being a mother is a full-time job, you know. It's so interesting you don't wear any designer. That's very you. I smiled through it. I didn't want to make waves. I thought I could win them over. Spoiler, I couldn't. Miles' dad, Charles, passed away suddenly. Heart attack while golfing. It was awful. We flew to Bar Harbor, Maine, where the family had their summer house, and everyone gathered there for the funeral and to settle some estate stuff. Here's where things started to twist. Charles and I weren't close, but he was the only one in the family who treated me like a person. He actually asked about my job, took interest in what I did. Once told me, "You're smarter than all of them combined. Don't let them box you in." What I didn't know, what nobody knew, was that he left me a minor share in the family trust. He did it quietly, behind everyone's back. I only found out because the family lawyer called me aside privately after the funeral. I asked him, "Why me?" He said, "He trusted you. Said you were the only one with a head for numbers and no addiction to status." I didn't tell anyone. Not even Miles. I wanted to think about it. Understand it. Study it. So I did. And then I saw everything. I started reviewing the quarterly reports they sent out to the family. Numbers didn't add up. Disbursements looked funny. Property sales weren't accounted for correctly. I dug deeper. Quietly. Turns out, Savannah's husband, Derek, was using the trust's assets to back some of his personal investments. Not illegal on paper, but shady as hell. Risky. And I had the receipts. Email printouts. Meeting notes. Tax filings that didn't match. I'm an accountant. I know how to read this stuff. And this stuff stank. Still, I said nothing. Not yet. About a year after Charles's death, the family planned another gathering at the same Bar Harbor estate. A weekend of dinner parties, wine, boat rides, and pretending to be perfect. I didn't want to go, but Miles insisted. So I went. The second night, after dinner, people were lounging in the living room. Talking about Stocks, who was at the club last weekend, whose kid got into which boarding school. I was sitting by myself, quietly sipping wine, when Savannah came over. She leaned down, pretending to fix the hem of her dress, and whispered into my ear, "You'll never be one of us." Just like that. Soft. Quiet. No emotion. I looked up at her, dead in the eyes. She walked off like nothing happened. Miles saw my face. Asked what happened. I said, "Your sister just told me I'll never be one of you." He laughed nervously. "She's just teasing." I stood up. Good thing I was never trying to be. The whole room stopped. People turned. You could feel the air shift. And then I said it. "Actually, since everyone's here, I have something to share." Everyone stopped talking. "I've decided to sell my shares in the trust." Savannah froze mid-sip. Derek's face dropped. Miles looked at me like I had grown a second head. "What shares?" he asked. That's when I realized he didn't even know. "The ones your dad gave me." Quietly. "I've had them for a year." Gasps. Actual gasps. "I've found a buyer. It's already in progress. Legal and everything." "You can't do that." Derek snapped. "Actually, I can." I checked. Nothing in the documents prevents me from selling to an outside party. And I'm done pretending I care about protecting a family that never protected me. Silence. I didn't wait for their reactions. I walked out of the room and went to bed. The buyer? a private equity firm headed by someone Savannah's dad once fired from the family's publishing company. Guy's been watching the trust ever since. He'd been waiting for an opportunity like this. The day after the announcement, I got a voicemail from Derek. He was raging. Said I was destroying their legacy. Miles begged me to reconsider. I didn't respond. I'm not done yet. Not by a long shot. Because what they still don't know is everything else I've found. What they don't know is what I've already sent to certain agencies. What they don't know is that I've been recording everything. This was just the first crack. The whole foundation's about to crumble. Miles moved back to Boston with me after the weekend. He was quiet. Unusually quiet. Wouldn't look at me much. Didn't sleep beside me for the first few nights. He kept saying he was processing everything. I gave him space. But one night, I walked into his office and saw his laptop open. He was on a Zoom call. He didn't hear me come in. I didn't mean to eavesdrop. But I heard enough. She has no idea what she's doing. I'm trying to get her to back off. If we let her go through with this, it's all gone. Mom. All of it. It was his mother on the call. He wasn't protecting me. He was stalling me. A few days later, I got a call from a reporter. Yes, a reporter. Someone at a financial blog reached out asking if I wanted to comment on the insider activity surrounding the Hargrove Trust. I hadn't said anything to anyone in media. I played dumb, asked how they got my name. He said someone sent them an anonymous tip. With documents. I asked to see them. They were real. The exact files I had gathered, some of them with my watermarks. Someone had leaked my evidence before I was ready. There were two problems. One, it looked like I had sent them. Two, it meant someone had access to my files. I checked my email, my cloud storage, my backups. One folder was accessed from a different IP. Someone hacked me. I confronted him that night. Calm, direct. Did you access my files? He didn't deny it. He just looked at me and said, I had to. You don't understand what you're doing. No, I said. You don't understand what you're doing. This family is all I have left, he snapped. If you take them down, what does that leave me? A spine, maybe? He stormed out. That was the last night he slept at the house. I got 2 cease and desist letters. One from Derek. The other from Savannah's lawyer. Both accusing me of attempted financial sabotage and breach of confidential family data. It was nonsense. I had legal access to the files. But that wasn't the point. They weren't trying to win. They were trying to scare me, delay me, confuse me. I called my lawyer. She laughed. They're bluffing. But now we go nuclear. We filed a formal complaint with the State Financial Ethics Board. Then we submitted a full dossier to the SEC. But that wasn't the big twist. The big twist came when I met the buyer again. Originally, I was told the buyer was a small private equity group. That was a half-truth. The real money behind the buyer? Elena Barnard, Charles Hargrove's ex-business partner. The one he allegedly cheated out of her shares 15 years ago. The one who quietly disappeared from the publishing world. She didn't disappear. She'd been watching. She told me, Charles played a long game. But he wasn't the only one. I waited for this family to tear itself apart. You just sped it up. She wanted control. Not out of greed. Out of revenge. He took everything from me. His family laughed about it. Now I'm going to turn their name into a joke. I asked her what her plan was. She smiled. You'll see. But for now, don't stop them. Let them dig. A quiet email came to me from a name I didn't recognize. Just a scanned deed and a sentence. Savannah's Greenwich estate is under the trust's name. Not hers. Thought you'd want to know. That house she flaunted? The one with the indoor pool and chandelier bathrooms? It wasn't hers. She'd refinanced it using trust assets, which was illegal under their trust charter. I passed the info to my lawyer. She said, this isn't just petty fraud anymore. This is criminal. We filed another report. He showed up at my door a week ago with takeout and apologies. Let's talk. I let him in. He cried. Said he didn't know what to do. That his mom threatened to cut him out. That Savannah was planning to file a restraining order against me for harassment. I asked him one question. Did you send the files to the reporter? He hesitated. Too long. I nodded. I see. He said, they made me choose. I said, you did. Then I closed the door behind him. I'm writing this now from a temporary office in Chicago, where Elena flew me out for a private strategy meeting. She wants to bring me on as a consultant. Not just for the Hargrove Trust collapse. For something bigger. She says I'm proof that smart doesn't have to come with a silver spoon. I haven't said yes. Not yet. Because there's one more piece left to play. One more move I haven't revealed. And when I do, they won't even know it was me. So, after my meeting in Chicago with Elena Barnard, the ex-partner turned secret buyer, I went home thinking I was ahead. A few days later, my lawyer emailed me something that stopped me cold. You're going to want to see this. She sent me a trail of shell companies. It took a while to untangle, but here's the short version. The Hargrove Trust had been quietly siphoning funds into offshore accounts. Those accounts led to a shell company in the British Virgin Islands. That shell company had a board of 3. One of the board members? Miles. Yep. My own husband was on the board of a secret company tied to the trust. He wasn't just stalling me. He was in it. Deep. And this next part? It still makes me shake. The company had been used to buy political favors. Not big flashy ones, but enough to protect the trust from regulations, taxes, and audits. And Miles? His job title on paper was Asset Strategy Advisor. He knew. He knew everything. Remember how I said Elena was the buyer? That was true. But what I didn't know was that Derek and Savannah found out weeks ago. And they tried to fake a counter buyout to stop it. They approached Elena behind my back. Tried to offer her double what she paid to walk away and stay quiet. She pretended to think about it. Played along. Then she looped me in. I asked her, why not just take the deal? She said, because I want more than their money. I want their reputation. So we made a new plan. Together. And that plan included feeding Savannah and Derek false information. Feeding it through Miles. We told them Elena was pulling out. They believed it. They celebrated. And while they were popping champagne, we were doing something else. During all this, I kept receiving anonymous emails. No subject line. No sender. Each one included screenshots, text messages, phone call logs. All about Savannah and Derek. At first, I thought it was one of Elena's people. But the tone was different. Too personal. Then one email came with just this line. You're not the only one they underestimated. I still don't know who it is. But their info checked out. They even sent me a recording of Savannah admitting to cooking the books just a little. We all do it. Nobody goes to jail unless they're stupid. She was on the phone with her board member at the children's literacy nonprofit she chairs. The call was recorded. Illegally, yes. But someone gave it to me. Now I had leverage from outside the family. Someone inside their own circle wanted them to fall. Here's a rule about the Hargrove Trust one haven't mentioned yet. If any major changes happen, like a member selling their shares, it triggers a family vote. They have to vote on whether to buy back the shares internally or let the sale go through. Guess who they tried to stop from voting? Me. But I still had voting rights until the transaction finalized. So I showed up to the emergency board meeting they scheduled in New York at some glassy office high above Midtown. They were stunned to see me. Derek stood up and said, "You don't belong here." I smiled and sat down. I have voting rights until 11:59 p.m. tonight. I'll be staying. That vote? It didn't go their way. Not just because of me, but because 2 other family members voted against them. People I hadn't even spoken to. Turns out, Savannah's behavior had made more enemies than she realized. And one of them? Her own cousin, who was quietly fed up with her for years. After the vote, Savannah stormed out. She hasn't been seen in public since. Derek's firm is under internal review. Not SEC yet, but close. Miles tried one last time to contact me. Sent a message through his lawyer saying he wants to talk. Privately. I declined. Because here's the last twist for now. Charles didn't just leave shares to me. He left one more hidden share to someone else. My lawyer just found the paperwork. We don't know who yet. But the name on the envelope? To the person who keeps their mouth shut and eyes open. The letter was dated 3 months before he died. Someone in the family knows exactly where the bodies are buried. And I think they're about to speak up. The Hargrove Family Foundation throws a big charity gala every year in Boston. It's their social show-off event. Politicians, CEOs, legacy donors. Press. Cameras. Champagne with gold flakes in it. Savannah was supposed to be the host this year. Even after the trust drama, they moved ahead. I guess they thought they could still control the story. Pretend like nothing happened. They didn't know Elena had donated $500,000 to the foundation 2 days before the gala. And that donation gave her speaking time on stage. And she asked me to go with her. The ballroom at the Fairmont Copley Plaza was packed. Men in tuxedos, women in satin gowns, string quartet playing Vivaldi in the corner. I wore black. Sleek. Simple. No flash. Savannah saw me. She froze. Then pretended I wasn't there. Miles was near the bar. He looked thinner. Pale. He didn't approach me. Derek was full mask. Laughing with his senator like his whole world wasn't cracking. Then the speeches started. The foundation's director gave the usual lines about legacy and honor and tradition. Then Elena stepped up to the podium. She started her speech soft, gracious, thanking the Hargrove family for their many years of service. Then she paused. Before I close, I want to share something. Something I've held for a long time. She looked directly at Savannah. Then Derek. Then Miles. 15 years ago, I was pushed out of a company I helped build by someone who wanted the empire all to himself. That man was Charles Hargrove. He lied, forged signatures, and took everything. I stayed silent, until now. You could feel the whole room tighten. He's gone. But the empire remains, run by the same hands. Dirty ones. She turned to the audience. I made a donation tonight not just for the children this foundation serves, but for truth. Then she nodded at me. I walked up to the stage. My heart was racing. But I felt calm. I took the mic. Some of you know me as Miles Hargrove's wife. Or, soon-to-be ex-wife. You don't know me as the one Charles left shares to in secret. Murmurs. You don't know me as the one who uncovered tax fraud, hidden accounts, and criminal activity inside the trust bearing this family's name. More murmurs. Derek stood up. This is insane. Cut her mic. Nobody moved. You don't have to believe me, I said. But I sent everything to the SEC, the IRS, and the press. They're already in motion. Gasps. And to Savannah, who told me I'd never be one of you. You were right. I was never one of you. Because I still know right from wrong. Then I left the stage. The rest was chaos. Savannah stormed out, dragging Derek behind her. People whispered. Some guests got up and left. Others stayed, drinking in the scandal like fine wine. Miles approached me outside the ballroom. He looked broken. Did you really have to do it like this? I said. Did you really have to lie to me for years? He blinked fast. His hands trembled. I didn't know how deep it was at first. Then it was too late. I didn't want to lose everything. You already did, I said. You just don't see it yet. He looked at me with red eyes. No anger. Just regret. I loved you. Maybe. But you loved your name more. He didn't reply. Just stood there as I walked away. The story hit Boston Business Weekly the next morning. Front page. Hargrove legacy under federal investigation. A week later, the SEC froze the trust temporarily pending inquiry. Savannah went off-grid. Derek resigned from his hedge fund to focus on family. Miles issued a carefully written PR statement distancing himself from certain past activities. But the damage was done. Remember that mystery shareholder Charles mentioned? The one he left a final envelope for? We found her. It was his sister, Miles and Savannah's aunt. Estranged for 30 years. She'd been disowned for marrying a nobody. She'd been watching from a distance. She came forward. She confirmed Charles had tried to rewrite the trust behind everyone's back before his death. He never finished. But he was trying to clean up what he built. She said he knew what he created. And he hated it. She gave us the final key to a trust loophole that forced a total restructure. It was over. A month later, I signed my divorce papers. No tears. No big scene. Just a courthouse, a pen, and a breath I didn't know I was holding. I moved to Chicago full-time. Elena made good on her offer. I work with her now, helping expose white-collar corruption and clean up legacy wealth disasters. Quietly. Smartly. Legally. Sometimes I think about Miles. Not with hate. Just with sadness. He had a chance to be better. To break the cycle. He chose comfort over courage. Savannah? Haven't heard a word. Last I heard she's living in Monaco, trying to avoid extradition. Derek? Facing charges. The trust? Dissolved and rebuilt without their names on it. And me? I never wanted revenge. I wanted respect. They gave me the first. So I took the second. And I don't regret a single moment.